It's kind of a pinch me moment that we're actually getting to make this movie.
Hello everyone, this is the Post-Movie Show. I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
And we have a special guest with us, Sean Burns from the Improper Bostonian.
Howdy.
And today we're going to cover Avatar. And if we have enough time, we're going to cover The Imaginarium of DR Parnassus, Terry Gilliam's new flick, which opens on Christmas.
You Jake Sully? I'd like to talk to you about a fresh start on a new world. You'd be making a difference.
I became a Marine for the hardship. I told myself I can pass any test a man can pass. All I ever wanted was a single thing worth fighting for.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are not in Kansas anymore. You are on Pandora.
Oh, I am ready. I am ready for Avatar. I'm actually, I was just telling John that I'm actually, Avatar was, I loved the movie, but it was also really pissing me off, some of the stuff I've been reading, and I don't even want to get into, like, I probably should back up what I'm going to say by some of the stuff I've read online, but it's so fanboyish and, just fawning over James Cameron. It just drives me up the fucking wall.
Why don't you back up why you liked it first?
I love the whole ambiance of it. The whole world that he created. The whole, it's just cool. For lack of a better, the 3D was okay. So everybody knows when we first saw it, the 3D was kind of messed up. So we had trouble focusing on certain things within the depth of field. It was like we were watching these guys, but they had like a ghostly halo around them. So, getting beyond that, when things were in focus, it was pretty cool. It was some expensive stuff on screen, and I was really taken by it, But, the friggin' story, it was bothering. It was so predictable, and I've been saying that all week, and that it just goes in a very predictable direction.
Haven't gotten lost in the woods, have you?
Do you forget what team you're playing for?
Strong prey on the weak, and nobody does a thing.
You got 1 hour.
You knew this would happen?
Everything changed. Jake, it's crazy here. Quaritch is rolling and there's no stopping him.
We're going up against gunships with bows and arrows.
I guess we better stop him.
It's not an entirely pleasing movie. It's pleasing to look at. It's fun to watch. And there's some amazing stuff, but the story is really just like, that was pretty lame.
See, I didn't even think it was amazing to look at. It looked like, no, I thought the characters were badly drawn, or whatever he did to them.
Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver looks ridiculous as an Avatar. She looks like Goofy without the big nose. And
she looked kind of like Shrek, actually.
Well, yeah,
a little
and
bit of a Shrek look.
The fact that when you go to this other world, it's especially at night, it looks like those old blacklight posters. You
exactly.
A stone guy to walk across.
There's a very tacky 70s kind of airbrush painting quality to it. Like the world looks like it should be on the side of someone's van.
Yeah.
Right.
Or Black Velvet.
Maybe that was what he was going for.
Movie.
I see James Cameron as one of those modular van guys from the 70s who wanted to.
Yeah, but. That's not enough to keep me interested. When we saw it and the 3D wasn't working right, and it's something people I think need to be aware of, that if you're in this movie and it's not blowing you away visually, go to the theater management right away. Something's wrong. But when you get beyond the wow factor of, this is, excellent 3D, there's not much there. The story is pretty lame. It's like an old Western, or an old... hippie movie, and just...
Do you want to do a summary, or I'll do one?
In a sec. I'll have you fired.
Hold up, Steve.
Yeah, hold up, Steve. That'll be the subchapter. But you agree, right? The story's pretty weak.
Well, everything seems borrowed from something else. It's like the first half is the New World, just with blue people instead of Indians, and she's like Pocahontas, and he's Captain John Smith, and they have their little love story, and then it becomes Dances with Wolves, where you need the white guy to lead the natives in their big battle and help them save themselves.
they've sent us a message that they can take whatever they want. But we will send them a message that this is our land.
It was kind of funny. There was a poster for the Blue Man Group on the way to get the car after the thing.
I think the problem with the look, a lot of it too, is that Cameron's like got that underwater photography thing going, and that's his big obsession. And everything, like all the plants in the movie, had that look like pink willowy.
Yeah, sea anemones. Oh, I'm in the land of sea anemones. I'm so glad I didn't stumble over that word.
You know, I also felt like he cast like Spielberg did. You're supposed to have these amazing looks on the actors' faces. So whenever they come into like the, you know, whatever plant they're looking at, or you know the
reaction shot.
Yeah, it's the reaction shot. It's like the.
But even that, the guy who's the lead, this Sam Worthington, has the emotional range of an Avatar. I mean, really, he doesn't. What does he do? He's always like, oh.
I don't think you don't really feel his mission.
I don't feel he's alive. I know he's dead from the waist down in the movie. I get that, but everything else when they have the Avatar faces, they don't have any. They're almost as expressionless as the Zemeckis film, the Christmas Train, whatever it was.
No, the Christmas
Polar
Carol.
Express.
Polar Express.
Remember, it was just those expressionless faces and those dead eyes.
Yeah.
How creepy it was. This isn't as creepy, but it's just as emotionless. And
there's a word for it. I can't.
And the way they switch back and forth between the Avatar world and the real world starts looking more fake than the Avatar world. I don't care. I just don't care.
It's funny you mention Zemeckis, because I feel like he and Cameron have these similar careers now, where they used to make these really tight, crowd-pleasing entertainments, and now every movie has to be this new groundbreaking technology that they just invented to do this. And they've kind of both disappeared into this CGI.
Yeah. What's the point? I mean, why could this story have been? This is something I was thinking. Would this story be any more interesting if he had like no budget and had the avatars as guys in rubber suits, like an old, Japanese horror movie, but had good acting and a better story? I'd be more interested. I don't need to see that this is a whole new world of, blue people and other stuff. I'd rather I want characters I can care about. And when, it's the little boy against Godzilla. I know Godzilla's a guy in a rubber suit, but the little boy's going to be, he needs to be saved.
So, John, there was nothing in this movie you cared about?
No, I was just sitting there.
Can't you appreciate the artistry?
No, the thing is, when I saw it again, the 3D was so screwed up that it was like watching Blair Witch. It's that kind of nauseous feeling. And we told the people who were at the studio that something's wrong, and nothing got done. And then they gave us an opportunity to see it again. They flew some guy in from Fox to, make sure everything was right. And I was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not giving 2 hours and 42 minutes of my life back to James Cameron, because no matter what the wow factor is, the story sucks.
I would still see it again, man. It's still cool on screen. I mean,
but were you
the story.
Tired of the movie always telling you
I
how
did
cool
get tired
looked?
of it, but
there was constantly everyone. The camera would swoop around, the people would be gazing up in awe, and the characters would go, "See, look at the look on your face. Isn't that amazing?"
I was much happier, and I know this isn't everyone's opinion. I was much happier with the 3D in My Bloody Valentine, because then it had a point. When the first guy gets the axe in the head, and the eye pops out at you, 3D perfect.
You just like that movie because of the 3D boobs.
There were 3D boobs.
You liked Ninja Assassin better than.
That's not a boob thing, but there were 3D boobs, and that was, to me, that was a technological achievement Cameron didn't come close to.
He just wasn't focusing.
I want My Bloody Valentine in 3D on IMAX, and I want to watch it alone. That's all I'm saying. But to me, that was 3D. That was fun. It wasn't all about. And I thought the story was better. So the acting was better. Everything. I had much more fun. I've seen that. I've paid to see My Bloody Valentine 3D. I own My Bloody Valentine in 3D. I wouldn't go back to see this. And we were talking about before, and I know I won't take up all the oxygen in the room, but during the big battle scenes, they reminded me of Aliens.
Oh, there was so much taken right from Aliens.
Such a homage.
You had the Space Marines.
No, I don't think it was homage. I think it was rip-off. He ripped himself off.
Well, yeah, the big robot suit.
Is it a homage if you're actually doing it from a movie that you made? So then, yeah, I guess you're right. It's not.
And he's the kind of guy who would
But he is
do
pretty
an homage
egotistical,
to himself,
so
right?
apparently.
But no, think about how much was from Aliens in that movie. You had Giovanni Ribisi basically playing Paul Reiser in Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And Michelle Rodriguez as Vasquez. I forget what her character's name in this.
Right.
But it's Vasquez from Aliens. And then the last fight is with the big robot suit, just like the last fight in Aliens.
Yep. Sigourney Weaver.
And then the whole thing about, you know, like technology versus whatever you call the indigenous kind of plant world. You know, obviously
the
they're going
Ewoks
to win.
against the Empire.
Yeah, it was totally Ewoks against the Empire. You know, you knew
they're
they
using
were
their bows and arrows and low
and
tech.
just
And
when he goes into, I guess a real quick scenario thing is, so it takes place 200 years in the future on Pandora. I think I saw something. It was like 2256 or something like that.
It was out of focus.
yeah, all of the subtitles were out of focus.
Yeah.
Well, it was set in the future, but they were still making modern pop culture references the whole time. Like, is anyone going to, 200 years in the future, are people going to be making Ranger Rick jokes? I mean, I don't think they are now.
True. So I guess in this case, Earth was destroyed. So they're farming, what's this stuff? This
unobtainium.
This is why we're here. Because this little gray rock sells for $20 million a kilo. Their village happens to be resting on the richest deposit, and they need to relocate. Those savages are threatening our whole operation. We're on the brink of war, and you're supposed to be finding a diplomatic solution.
And wait, now I thought that was the single most ridiculous word I'd ever heard, where they have this thing, you know, it's worth, this is why we're going to this planet, to get this ore that's more valuable than gold and any cocaine, crack cocaine, anything, and they call it unobtainium.
Nobody had ever copyrighted that word before? Unobtainium?
But you were telling me that's a real word.
Yeah, it's a term among, like, aerospace engineers and stuff. For some material that you can't get, it's a theoretical thing. So it's not. So it's like an inside joke for.
I always, you know, it's like the hot babe at the party. She's unobtainium. You don't have a chance.
So the tribe's tree is sitting on a giant mound of unobtainium.
Yeah. What did Rocky and Bullwinkle go? Upsidasium? We didn't Rocky, you know, Fearless Leader. That would have made a better movie. You know? Go to Pennsylvania. See moose and squirrels.
And I'm not even sure why in the world did they have to have a time limit on this. They were just moving by their own sense of, you know, we were just going to put a time limit on it, and that's it. You know, we'll give you. How long did he have to go in there and try and figure this out? Like a week or something? Yeah, they were just, you know, they were going to bring the full force of the whatever military, and which is exactly what the military was prepping to do anyway. They got some real grunts in there too. That's
the leader with the claw. I keep this to remind
James Cameron is so good at that. He can do the military grunge guys.
Oh, this guy was ridiculous. This was a cartoon.
He had the book of military cliches, and he rambled. He didn't spare one of them.
And I mean, yeah, they're making no sense. They're just like, oh, we're moving ahead anyways. We don't care about your science information. Like,
yeah,
we need to have a climax right now, so let's destroy something.
But you know, you mentioned before when it's, you know, low tech against high tech, and and what are the Avatar people called?
The Na'vi.
The Na'vi.
The Na'vi.
Na'vi?
The Na'vi have bows and arrows and sticks, which of course are ineffective. But then during the big battle scene, they suddenly become very effective. You know, they're breaking through the windows that they weren't breaking through before, and I was just ridiculous.
Didn't you like the Avatar training scenes with the first him getting to experience the whole Avatar world the first time? Yeah.
No.
Him ripping out of the med area, you know.
I can't get over the first look of the first scene with
Sigourney Weaver
Avatar, and I swear
she looks lovely in blue.
No, and she regained her girlish figure as an Avatar.
So John, you were entertained then?
No, I was pissed off. There's a difference. I was sitting there pissed off and nauseous, which is no way for me to sit through a movie for 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Pissed off and nauseous?
Pissed off and nauseous. You think they'll put that on the poster? Pissed off and nauseous, John Black. I don't think so. But, yeah, it was just, I couldn't understand the Sigourney Weaver thing. Because did you think the Avatar of Jake Scully looked like Sam Worthington? Did you?
Not really, no.
No. And Zoe Saldana, who was so hot in Star Trek.
Yeah, she doesn't look good as a cat lady.
Yeah, Neytiri whatever her name was.
I kept calling her Pocahontas because that was...
Right, it's the same movie. But what was the point of her? I mean, I didn't see any resemblance of that actress. So I don't know if this is one of those...
You just knew where she was going to... You knew she was going to get pissed off by what he was hiding, and then you knew he was going to have this mea culpa scene, and everything had to be made right by offering the truth. And
the important lesson is that a culture millions of miles in the distant galaxy have the same emotional range as humans, care about the same things, have the same kind of religious ceremonies where they all wave and, we are the world kind of thing.
So you wouldn't see it? I would go see this in 2D. I would totally.
You would?
Yeah.
You would see this in 2D?
The
only thing you
well, I tell you, I love James Cameron's stuff. I was bothered by some stuff in this, okay, but, I feel like there's a whole lot of stuff that I still want to see in this movie. I couldn't process it all the first time. I was bored with it because of the story, and I didn't like some of the these are like the grand decisions about who the good guys and the bad guys are, and that kind of crap. But I would go see it again.
Well, everyone had one character trait.
I'd like to see it in focus.
I'd like to see it in focus, let alone in 2D. How much of that, the one character trait, do you think is Cameron's, what's the word, shortcut, hand signals, to let people know, there's so much going on that we can only give you one, you're the guy with the beard, and you're Michelle Rodriguez, and you're going to act angry because that's all you do, and you're going to be this, and Sigourney, you're going to look like Goofy. And then but do you think it's because he knows he has so much going on, he needs to do that to bring the audience in? Or is he that limited a writer where he can't do more?
I've always thought Cameron was a crappy writer, but I mean, he writes these broad archetypal characters, and then, if you're lucky, he gets like Leonardo DiCaprio to play him. So, I mean, DiCaprio will never get enough credit for how much he got me through Titanic.
Come on, your heart will go on. When
look at the Billy Zane character in Titanic. That's how Cameron writes. I am evil.
Billy Zane, that would be the Stephen Lang character in this film.
The one with Stephen Lang?
Yeah, the maniacal, the eye-popping military.
Oh yeah, with the three
about to pop a blood vessel in his eye.
Yeah,
I could take care of this, but I'm going to live with these 3 gashes across my face.
Yeah, they can promise the Jake Scully, who is paralyzed from the waist down, and the twin brother of a dead guy who would have been the Avatar if he didn't die in the 6-year flight. But they can fix this guy's legs, but the grunt leader doesn't want the scars taken out to prove he's a reminder.
He wants to remind himself of how. Well, that was the big buildup. Again, the movie overselling itself when he's. It was like 8 minutes the guy spends telling you how dangerous Pandora is, and there's never been anything like it. It's the biggest hellhole. It's like,
ladies and gentlemen, you are not in Kansas anymore. You are on Pandora.
You should see your faces.
We have an indigenous population called the Na'vi. They are very hard to kill.
No,
you never got that. There was no payoff on that. You never felt any of the dread or anything from any of the guys he was talking to. I thought like, well, maybe in Aliens when they kind of hype each other up for going into the nest and stuff like that, and it was cool. Yeah. And you saw the real characters in those guys, but here they were just nobodies. It was just this guy giving a speech,
and he's living in the planet Blacklight.
And what did you have to fear on this planet? There's the flying dragon, and then there's the gianter red dragon, was apparently the one thing you had to.
I mean, I guess there was just dinosaur things running around every once in a while, but they only came in when the script needed them to.
Yeah, but the blue people knew how to handle it. It was only when the fake blue people who were the white people.
Steve, did you see the movie The Tao of Steve?
Yeah.
Okay, so in order to get the woman, one of the things you have to do is something awesome in her presence. So that's exactly what Sam Worthington's character does. He has to do the ultimate awesome thing, which is to tame the dragon.
Yeah.
And then, something that none of the other blue guys could do, but he, for whatever reason, is able to tame the ultimate dragon that nobody...
Which is funny because when...
So she's an odd. They're all like, oh my
she's
God,
also
he really is amazing.
The character who is awed by all this is also the one who, like a half hour earlier, says, yeah, this is red dragon. Hasn't been tamed in a long time. I wonder if anyone will do it to please me. It was like, you could set your watch. Like, okay, red dragon comes in at the end. You know it's going to happen, right?
That was the disappointing predictability of it.
Well, there's something, now, again, this might be because I was angry and nauseous, but...
While watching
it. And now I am not nauseous, I'm just angry.
I'm nauseous.
What was missing, what I thought was missing was humor.
Mm-hmm.
There, a lot, even in Cameron's other films, there's been humor. And I didn't find any intentional humor in this. Did I miss something?
I think the Joel David Moore's character was supposed to be the humorous.
Which one's that?
He was the
nerdy guy.
Yeah, the nerd guy.
You're going to have
the computer, the nerd, the guy that acclimated him to the computers, that taught them about the Avatar.
He had a funny beard. That was his
pod
thing.
Yeah. Wasn't he in Hatchet? No, I think he was.
He was Grandma's Boy. He was in The Hottie and the Naughty.
The Hottie, yeah.
Yeah.
He's done some fine work.
That was.
I wouldn't say I'd go see The Hottie and the Naughty again rather than Avatar. That would just be, silly. But he was trying to be.
He was supposed to be the comic relief. It didn't really. I mean, fine performance, I guess, but there really wasn't much comedy there.
Yeah, but I think for comic relief, you need something to bounce the ball against, and Jake Scully wasn't the guy.
I keep forgetting his name is Jake Scully. Could we be more generic?
No. Did he have a tribal Irish tattoo and a drinking problem?
Or maybe it was Sigourney Weaver. Maybe she was supposed to be the comedic relief.
Oh, she was funny because she smoked.
Which is, I guess, in the future, a hilarious trait. Oh, yeah, when she wakes up after 6 years, she only wants 6 years.
Where's my
Which
cigarette?
could be another egotistical reference to Aliens.
Why?
Because she smokes. She smokes in the movie. That's how they do the Passage of Time. With her hand. This one.
I don't remember that. But,
all right. Yeah.
Wait,
Ripley smokes.
Oh,
right?
In Aliens, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I meant. Alien.
Been a while. I haven't seen
John, get in on your.
Yeah. When did Aliens come out?
1986.
Right. Get in your 23-year-old movies, John. Make that a reference to a 23-year-old movie, and I missed it. Sorry.
I talked my dad into taking me to see that when I was 11, and I convinced him I could handle it
Really?
and I wouldn't be scared. And so, of course, I was, didn't sleep a wink that
Really?
night. We were
Oh, man, I so friggin' dig that movie.
I just remember sitting in the motel wide awake all night. Like, every time I'd fall asleep, I would just see all those aliens.
But I know the next day you wanted to see it again, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was awesome, but
yeah. I can't. I'm trying to compare the two, and I still have a deep love for Aliens, but there's definitely a hollowness for Avatar.
Well,
I really want to like it. That's why I want to go back and see it again.
With you look at Terminator and
force yourself.
You get the first Terminator and Aliens, and they're these incredibly tightly structured movies where it's one thing after another, and it's very he just ratchets up the momentum. But I think around The Abyss, that's when he started to get important. And he started telling, and the movies started getting longer and more bloated. I mean, there's no reason for Terminator 2 to be 2.5 hours long and have...
And I think that's where technology started to take over his stories, too. Because remember The Abyss, it was delayed for so long, and he had all this new technology, like, ooh, I've got this new underwater camera that can make a water bubble look cool.
Yeah,
That's
I think the technology that he imposes upon his films gets in the way of the storytelling. He's maybe it's another George Lucas thing, but he's so intent to make this the technological innovation that everybody's like story is the main thing, and the truth is, yeah, it is. And then when something stupid's going on between the characters and you just don't get the reasoning for it, just so what? It looks beautiful,
the
but
story sucks. Spin around the room.
Oh right, so you like these 360 camera moves and stuff. I gotta admit though,
if we
the
go
computer
back to,
councils and everything were friggin' cool.
Yeah, if you had flashed the boobs, then maybe I would have liked it more. Oh, I'm paying attention. Something I wanted to talk about is this movie cost anywhere from $200 million to $400 million, depending on who you listen to. Is it going to be a success?
Oh, I'm sure it will.
Really? I'm not so sure. I think it's going to be huge first weekend. But then comes Christmas Day, and there's 6-7 movies opening against it, including Sherlock Holmes.
I like Sherlock Holmes a lot better than
Yeah,
this, but
I'm going to see Sherlock again before it even opens. I'm going to the second screening just because I had so much fun.
Do you know how many theaters Avatar's?
Oh, I imagine it.
I mean, it may even have is it going to have a limited amount because of the 3D?
No, we're getting
option?
it over here in 2D on 35.
You
not
getting
even on
it?
digital? Yeah.
On digital?
Not on digital.
Oh, okay.
So you'll have the opportunity to see it many
times.
But I don't think, for that much money, I think it has to have legs, and I don't think it's going to last into the new year.
Well, what they're trying to do is this is the event for the year. Everybody knows about it. They're breathlessly building it up as the thing you have to see that you can't miss. So they'll get their money's worth.
Do you think there's any backlash from that? Because I'm already sick of being told that this is an event movie and it hasn't even opened yet.
They've been telling us that for 6 months.
Yeah.
That this.
Well, I mean, it depends on how connected you are to the. If you're on the internet too much, you've been sick of this movie for 6 months, like I have, ever since the trailer came out. It's done.
Didn't it have something like a 90% rating on the tomato meter?
Well,
I mean, it was just like
what that is.
Well, that's because if you want to publish a negative review, you get threatened with being banned from screenings. But the 50 positive reviews that are online are fine.
Right, exactly. And I don't think it has, beyond the fan base of the people who are already talking about it and already in love with it before they've even seen it, I think it doesn't have that kind of cross appeal of a movie like Sherlock Holmes, which has something for everyone. Downey's really hot in every way you can imagine. It's fun. And I don't think the anchor of being a Guy Ritchie movie will drag it down.
So for you, that is the movie this month for Christmas. This is
I think
Sherlock
Avatar.
Holmes.
I think everyone should go see it. Sorry, I tried. I wanted to be on Fox's good side, So
what about the kids, John? Aren't the kids? What about the kids?
Love Sherlock Holmes.
I mean, Avatar.
No, I don't know kids.
What is it? Avatar's PG-13?
Yeah. Kids should go see Princess and the Frog.
All right.
I won't bring that. I did that last week.
You were more entertained by a lightning bug.
Oh yeah.
Than Avatar.
Still am. If I was still drinking and got drunk, I would get a lightning bug tattoo after seeing Princess. I would not get Avatar tattooed on me.
No, I mean, can't you see this taking off though with conventions and all people geeking out and learning the Na'vi language and
oh my God,
chicks painting themselves blue? I think it's going to be.
Wait, hold that thought. But no, I can't. If
I'm a little afraid now.
Was this big at Comic-Con?
Yeah.
The last Comic-Con?
Mm-hmm.
And they showed the clip, and everyone, 10,000
Everyone went
go.
crazy. Yeah, all wet their pants, and I mean, we're not the audience for this. Is like Lord of the Rings or something. Look at how much money those movies made, and I was bored to tears.
It frightens me a little though. I was telling John beforehand, all these fanboys just giving it, marching order reviews that this thing is just, the movie of movies. It's just.
I would suspect that half those fanboys are on the studio payroll. They're just some, intern in the cellar of 20th Century Fox. You'll write 300 positive reviews before you can see your family again. Well, I just don't feel qualified to talk about the 3D because it was such crap when I saw it. But I'm not that impressed by 3D movies anyway. The only one that really impressed me this year for all the 3D was Coraline.
Yeah, that was cool.
Because it wasn't there. It let me into the world. It was such good 3D that it just opened up the scenes to me and made everything. It wasn't showy. It wasn't, like the pizzazz thing or a giant meatballs falling on your head or
it wasn't all this shit flying at your face.
Or even a boob. It was there to just give you an entirely different world, which I guess is what they're trying to do with Avatar. Do you think it has legs to be an Oscar-nominated film?
Well, you understand how much the industry is behind this movie because, I was talking to my friend out in L.A. and he said, everyone's petrified that if this tanks, I mean, I know people have been working on this for 3-4 years.
Yeah.
There's so much money riding on this that the town will do anything it can to support it.
Yeah, I don't think it's... I've heard, I think the way Fox reacted to you and the early review situation is part of the panic they've got.
Yeah, we should tell the story to the people at home. My review was supposed to run in the Philadelphia Weekly on Wednesday, and Fox threatened to ban me and the other critic there from all future screenings if we ran the review, whereas there's positive reviews every place, but they said no reviews until Friday. So We have to put it on the website on Friday, and poor Matt had to add 400 words to his Young Victoria review to make up for all the space we lost.
Which doesn't open until Christmas.
No, it opens in Philly next week.
Really? Big market for that kind of film in Philly?
People love their costume dramas. We'll have
guess.
Young Victoria at the Embassy through February, I guarantee you.
That'll be a draw.
You get British people in fancy costumes, everyone.
Anglophiles.
Yeah, people.
I know where you stand. Like John, you obviously would not pay $14, $15 to see this again. You wouldn't pay.
I wouldn't speak
50 cents.
I wouldn't.
And I'm assuming, Sean, you gave it what, 1.5?
Yeah,
something
1.5
like that.
stars. So.
I would see it again. I don't know if I'd pay $15, man. I don't know. I wonder if they're considering that being a killer, a $15 movie ticket.
Because you got to pay for those special goggles to see it.
Well,
no, but that's why these 3D movies, like, they love it because the numbers go up. Was it
right?
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs made a shitload of cash, but people were paying twice as much for a ticket because it's 3D.
Right, and it's not like you can bring. They encourage you to recycle the glasses, but I was
take them home, put them in a drawer.
Home,
yeah.
And I wouldn't want to. Let me encourage readers or listeners to do this. Buy another ticket. Buy a cheaper ticket. Bring your glasses with you. Sneak in. Don't give Fox an extra $3, $4 to see this. Don't see it in 2D either.
Oh, come on.
No, don't. I mean, the whole reason to see this, right, is because it's.
Well, for the record, I'm looking forward to seeing it in 2D.
But then, but how's the movie gonna? You're asking if it has legs. Okay, so the test of time. You're watching this on DVD. It's not going to be in 3D.
Right. It better have 3 discs of extras. A featurette on how they made Sigourney Weaver into a Na'vi.
That is the exclusive movie-going experience. Although they do have Coraline on demand on 3D, so I suspect that.
Well, how does it work? TV 3D work? I mean,
don't know.
It's not the same.
Jonas Brothers 3D.
Well, the Jonas Brothers 3D DVD, Coraline 3D DVD, the excellent My Bloody Valentine DVD in 3D, all came with the plastic glasses.
So it's the
cardboard with the blue and red cellophane.
The blue and red, yeah.
And they do not work.
Well, yeah, it's a completely different technology than what they use.
And your glasses from the theaters don't work either.
Well, yeah, it's a totally different. That's crazy.
But evidently, sometime in the future, they'll have 3D TVs.
Well, I'm burnt out on Avatar. At the moment, give me an hour. I will recharge my Avatar battery and get on. Get on with it. I think your Avatar battery's
unplugged.
It's
completely unplugged. Don't even have to. I still have to write the review.
Oh my God!
Oh
my God!
Yeah, I might have to borrow a copy of this just to remember what I said because take out the boobs of the writers. But yeah, I'm all done.
Sean?
Yeah, you think you're sick of hearing about Avatar now? I mean, this weekend is gonna.
It'll all come back by Monday, man. All the news comes out.
I think it'll be. Everyone wants it to be this event. It's going to be an event. People, like you said, people are going to be determined to love it no matter what.
Mm-hmm. And then it's going to be one of those. It always happens with these blockbusters where everyone, was so fired up for The Matrix 2 that I trashed it. I got more hate mail than well, not for any other movie, but I get tons of hate mail from people. Now, who likes The Matrix 2? It's a joke now.
Yeah. The Star Wars movie with Jar Jar Binks, Phantom Menace.
Same thing.
That movie sucks. Go back and see it, all of you people who wrote that hate mail. But tons of hate mail. I was at AOL at the time. Reams of.
Oh, I convinced myself I love that.
It's totally possible to
that I fell into I think with that new Star Wars trilogy, I went through the stages of grief where the first one was denial, and then the second movie was anger, and then the third one was just acceptance.
You're right. There is an emotional commitment, and it taints one's opinion of the movie as you're first seeing it, and it takes some time to do that. Some people, I think they get it at that time, and they're and it sucks and it really hurts, and they're like. But then there's this whole fanboy thing that is just, there I go again on the fanboy stuff.
No, I've been a critic for 10 minutes. Star Wars was one of the first screenings I went to. I was seeing it before everybody else. I was like, this is going to be the movie. And yeah, I bullshitted myself into thinking it was.
Yeah.
I always have that commitment for actors. It's like, I've seen everything Clint Eastwood's ever done.
You know, there is a...
So you sit through Pink Cadillac.
Yeah.
He's funny.
You know, in this like celebrity culture, you know, it's like when you're into James Cameron stuff, or when you're into a particular actor, it's almost, you know, it's like heresy to you know, it's like you don't want really like I don't know what I'm trying to say. It makes it really hard to hate to offer a really balanced opinion about something.
All right. Well, I think we did burn out on that. We're just you know, I can feel us charging up the engine again, and we're going to spend another hour.
Dr. Parnassus.
Let's just not do it.
Transitioning out of Avatar. That was really energetic. I'm sorry. The Brattle Theatre has a Terry Gilliam retrospective coming up from the 18th to the 23rd. Brazil, Adventures of Baron Munchausen, 12 Monkeys, The Fisher King, and some of those are double features. And this is all because his latest film, The Imaginarium of DR Parnassus, opens on the 25th.
So we're going to talk
I dug it, but you know what? I have to tell you this. I fell asleep for 10 minutes during the movie.
The beginning or middle?
It was like 3/4 of the way through, just after the Jude Law transition from...
Let's have Sean,
I entered my own
Sean,
Imaginarium.
sum up what the movie is all about.
I had no idea for at least 40 minutes what this film was going to be about. I mean, do you want to give it a shot?
Sean, I was hoping you would save me, man.
All right. All right, there's an old guy. Remember that? And
Dr. Parnassus.
Dr. Parnassus, played by...
Christopher Plummer.
Thank you. I always get Christopher Plummer, Christopher Lee, and the other guy confused, and obviously the other guy. So anyway...
Christopher Atkins?
Yes, Christopher Atkins. Dr. Parnassus is an old guy who has a traveling sideshow. In modern times, he's like dragging around a horse and buggy through London. Anyway, in exchange for immortal life, he sold his soul to the devil. And the deal is that when his daughter turns 16, the devil can come back and collect her. He makes another deal that if he can collect 5 souls before the devil collects 5 souls, he gets to keep his daughter.
But then again, you don't trust me either, do you? Oh, just tell me what you want. I just thought that last night when you were so upset that you could maybe use a little glimmer of hope, and maybe you could use a little bet. What? Well, it's over. It's over. Finito. Oh, come on. It's never over. What do you got to lose? Look, you could end up winning. You could save her. What do you say? First to 5 souls. First to 5? No tricks? No. No cheating? No cheating. I'd say yes. Deal. Okay. God, I love a betting man.
Basic idea. Somewhere along the line, Heath Ledger shows up, and then, as you were saying, Heath Ledger becomes
well, there's
Depp. You know, every time he goes, the way it works is that if people go through this special mirror at the road show of Dr. Parnassus, they enter a world that is made from entirely their imagination. So if you know what mine would be. We don't need to bother reading.
Yeah, but it's like Dr. Parnassus's mind, right? You're going into his mind?
No, I thought it was like if you fell through, it would be in your mind. God help us. If I fell through, it would be my mind.
Can you imagine the movie theaters?
No. Wouldn't you like mine in 3D? But anyway,
airplanes would be involved. Something like that.
Yeah, airplanes. Definitely the sound of airplanes. The thing that makes this movie interesting outside of what's on the screen is that Heath Ledger passed away during the shooting, and they hired Johnny Depp, Jude Law, and Colin Farrell to play different versions. So when Jude Law's character goes through into other people's imaginations, it's an easy segue to have Johnny Depp play him, to have Heath Ledger, to have Colin Farrell play him, and to have Jude Law play him. Anyway. So it's a battle between good and evil for the souls of his daughter.
And it takes a while to set that up.
As you can tell from my rambling explanation, I kept trying to explain it to people, to keep thinking the things you see. It's like, oh yeah, and then this happens, and then this happens. And the only thing I walked away really remembering was Tom Waits as the devil.
Yeah.
What's up, God? Don't we love our children?
as a peach. Sweet little 16. And oh my.
He's come to collect.
I thought so. It's early.
What can I do?
Nothing.
Must be something.
He's having a very good time.
Yes, you could tell.
He's got the presence.
He definitely has the delivery. Even when they make him into a giant artificial snake.
Oh man, the CGI was so bad.
But here's another thing, and it reminds me of a lot of other movies you see that are so CG dependent. The story's not there. I'm not following the story because Terry Gilliam seems much more interested in making it wow. You know, you're in a land where everything's giant mushrooms and rainbows.
And the policemen are in skirts and singing. And
yeah, I'd forgotten that part.
Well, it's like every other Terry Gilliam film, only more so. Like, it's just him throwing every idea that's in his head at the screen.
It really
was
a
crazy
whole lot of
visual
stuff.
like this. Here's a crazy visual of this. And after a while, I mean, like I said, it took so long to figure out what the movie was about. And then I just got kind of exhausted by it, because no one gets antic like Gilliam with shaking the camera and the loud noise.
It does require some serious trying to figure out what's going on here. Like when whoever Dr. Parnassus and Tony, the Heath Ledger character, are able to entice somebody to go through the mirror. And at one point they go to this shopping thing and they entice these women, and one of the women goes in. The thing is that this new soul is going to either walk through whatever setup Dr. Parnassus has to come over to his side, or she or he is going to be tempted by the devil to go ride that boat or enter that cafe or something like that. And once done, they have the soul. So there's a battle going on, but it's done through different sort of like enticements, visual representations of things they like or dislike. And of course the devil is very tempting. It's kind of a mess. It's a dreamland mess.
It's a big mess. It's a big mess. But I was more entertained by it than I thought I would be because I unplugged pretty early on. I didn't care.
His production design is always fantastic. The roving theater. I mean, it's completely implausible that something like that could exist. Because it would just...
You think?
Like that chase scene. Well, I mean, just really? Taking all the magic out of it, you'd never be able to have this traveling thing. Everybody's eyes would be on it if something like that came rolling down the street. There's no way that that's going to, is that thing horse-drawn? What was it? Some sort of motor carriage or something like that?
I think it was a horse. Heath Ledger played though. No.
There's no way that thing is going to even outrun a crowd, which it does in the movie, and... how does that thing, just all of a sudden disappear in the city in some like backlight? It just cannot be not.
It reminded me of.
It can't be not seen.
Like bad Tim Burton, where Tim Burton creates these wonderful worlds that I always fall in love with, but I think it's because the characters are strong enough and the story's being told that I'm following through all the weirdness. There's a guy there with scissors for hands, and I'm buying it.
Well, this film, it's very hard to connect to because Plummer's pretty much catatonic the whole time. And,
yeah, he is. He is.
And you can't tell who's the main character for the longest time. And clearly, there's a lot of. It's a pretty good patch job considering that the star died halfway through. I have a feeling Heath Ledger was a much more prominent character at some point, but they only got so much footage. And
it was funny when you talk about Christopher Plummer, who, he's been around forever. But I never thought I'd use the words roomy, and I don't mean R-O-O-M-Y, because he's got basset hound eyes, and he's always like, you just want to give him a tissue. And it's just like, there's nothing there. He's like everything else in Gilliam's movies. He's a visual. It doesn't matter what the performance is. He's a visual. He just has to look sad. That's why I was impressed by Waits, where he is a visual. There's no denying it. I was wondering about this. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a huge Tom Waits fan, so I understood everything he said. I don't know if Joe Public coming off the streets is going to be able to follow that mumble.
Extra perception ability, right?
Yeah, but he does. He mumbles. You know, and part of the best lines are the mumbles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just like, look at him. But it's the average person who doesn't know that, who doesn't know
Is
anything
the average
about
person going to go see this?
Well, that's right. That's right.
You know, it's an art house audience draw. You know, I mean, have Terry Gilliam's movies really been phenomenally successful? No, there's, you know, I think like he just seems to get by on a really distinctive type of movie making, and I guess he does okay. You know,
Tideland was the last one.
And did you see Tideland?
Oh, I saw Tideland.
No, I didn't see it.
I didn't. And
it's unwatchable.
Excellent. Excellent.
Wow.
It's this little girl. She has this horrible life, and Jeff Bridges is her dad, and he dies, and he's just a rotting corpse in her living room for the whole rest of the movie.
Wow. Man, the one Terry Gilliam-like film that I want to see is the documentary Lost in La Mancha. That's the one thing that I haven't seen it, but I do want to see it. They're showing it I guess they're showing it at the Brattle.
But I think this is as incoherent to me as Baron Munchausen was, and I can't stand that.
Are you serious? I loved it.
Really?
Yeah, I saw it 3 times in the theater when it came out.
It was like
89.
9 hours of your life gone.
I loved it, man.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Eric Idle.
Well, that's another. I think the visuals took over that movie. Robin Williams is a head in the sky.
Oh, no, that was, I forget his name.
That was Munchausen. But that was the movie Munchausen, right? It was Robin Williams.
No, it was the older guy whose name, a Canadian actor whose name I can't think of. Older guy. Yeah. There's no Robin Williams in Baron Munchausen.
There isn't?
Thank God.
There is.
He's the moon. He's the moon guy.
Yeah. Oh, right, the moon guy. Oh, fuck. Oh, man, that's so embarrassing. You're right.
But
You're
you
right.
made a good case
with
for
the cheese and I was so fixated on the image of Baron Munchausen that I forgot. You're right. The moon guy with the time.
And Uma Thurman in the clamshell?
Yes, I remember that part.
I remember that part.
Yeah, that was great.
Boy,
with Oliver
my
Reed.
reputation. This is going outside my usual circle of friends.
God, man, I'm so fucking embarrassed. I forgot the Robin
and
the Robin Williams
people
moon
who want to
part.
give Steve shit about his ignorance can write to, what's the email address?
It's postmovieshow@gmail.com.
Thank you. Please do. Anyway, that was the problem with me and Munchausen. It was my problem with, did he direct Time Bandits?
He did.
Again, it had one of my favorite things, Little People. But I couldn't get over the visuals. Yeah,
there was a time. There's like a Time Bandits element to Dr. Parnassus with the with the doors and going through the stuff. He likes doors and shit.
And that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
I like it when he gets
Time
a little
Bandits,
more.
man.
But I was blown away by Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think if he has a strong script that he can focus, I think he needs some to adapt things. Right? I mean, that's why I love Fear and Loathing, because he had that book.
Right.
Sort of, and he got to do all his Gilliam stuff, but he had the structure of the book. And same with, Fisher King was such a strong script, it was able to rein in. But when you have stuff like Munchausen or Tideland or this, it's just him throwing everything on the screen, and it just wears me down.
Is it? Oh, go ahead.
And I was going to say, the ones that I've liked have strong actors in the lead. Even Jonathan Pryce in Brazil. You just cared about what happened to Sam Lowry so much that, and I think, again, all the Gilliam madness can go on, but I'm drawn into, I feel a lot for this character. I feel a lot for
Johnny Depp in Leaving Las Vegas. Or Fear and Loathing, not Leaving Las Vegas, Nick Cage.
What was the other one you mentioned? Oh, Fisher King.
Fisher King,
Robin Williams, to have all that madness reined in and made dramatic. And Jeff Bridges was so cool that I think that makes a big difference. And in here, Heath Ledger doesn't do much. And whether that's because he never got a chance to, or, at least for me, he was just blank.
Well, I think it's also like we didn't know who his character was. You don't get the reveal until late into the film as to what his purpose was. And there's something going on here with how these characters are matching up to these tarot cards. So his tarot card is the Hangman, and we first meet Heath Ledger hanging from the bridge, but we don't know why.
It's kind of creepy that Ledger makes his entrance as a corpse that gets brought back to life. That was really kind of unnerving.
Now, did Gilliam write the script for this?
He did.
So I think that's another thing, too, where he's not that strong a writer to do something original like this. Again, it's he can paint a lovely picture, but a lot of what the actors are saying is tired.
You know, there's also this subplot that goes on with one of the stagehands and, what was her name? Lily? Dr. Parnassus' daughter? So she's kind of... The stagehand guy, I forget his name, thinks that she might be interested in Heath Ledger's character, so there's kind of a push and pull.
There's like a love triangle going on.
Yeah, the love triangle thing.
It was just really hard for me to tell who the movie was about, because it kept shifting. You thought then it would be about the stagehand trying to...
Yeah.
Then it became about Heath Ledger for a little while, but not... He has some shady background that we...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the mobsters chasing him, which, when they end up behind the window of the Imaginarium, turns into some really bizarre police lineup.
Yeah, that was bizarre. Was that with Jude Law? That one?
Yeah.
I mean, the changes are interesting. You're like, wow, that's Johnny Depp, that's Jude Law, that's Colin Farrell, but...
They do a pretty good job following what Ledger was doing with the character, though. They're kind of they're imitating what he does very well, I thought.
Do you think that's, because it's Heath Ledger's last movie, you think that's going to be a draw for a lot of people to see what he... I wouldn't even say it's whether it's a fitting end to his career, that doesn't matter, but do you think people are going to want to go see it because it's his last movie?
Maybe, or did, The Dark Knight steal that thunder,
Well,
I mean, that's sort of like the way you want to remember him going out on that note.
It's an okay performance, It was
I didn't...
the guy
know what he was doing.
Well, while I was watching, I kept thinking, well, he's got so much talent, and this really is it is a good performance. It's just one of those would-be, could-be kind of things.
So you're watching him and you're thinking he's got so much talent and all this. Do you see him out there and go, he's dead?
Oh.
Just once. You did.
Yeah, it's hard.
I do that in old movies, too. Richie Woodmark, he's dead.
I do that. Do you do that? Like, do you watch, like, an old movie and then you're like, wow, man, I'm really into this. I wonder what happened to them. So you go IMDb it really quickly and find out, what the deal was. Yeah, it's kind of sad. I've had that. Like, I recently saw Two-Lane Blacktop. And the performance by the girl, it was this movie with James Taylor and one of the Beach Boys. And they had the girl...
awesome.
I fucking loved it. And so there's this girl who plays the hitchhiker, and such a I'm like, wow, this girl's like a revelation. Where is she? Turns out she committed suicide, 5 or 6 years later in Art Garfunkel's apartment, some sort of accidental overdose or something like that. She didn't intend it, but anyway, it's how IMDb sort of fills in the gaps between
when they get it right. Yeah.
Like what you see somebody in a movie 30 years ago, you want, man, I hope they're around today. I want to see more of their work, and sometimes
why can't James Taylor do what is it called? Blacktop?
Two-Lane Blacktop.
Two-Lane Blacktop 2. He'd be awesome in it.
James Taylor is very good in Funny People.
He was in Funny People?
Yeah, he was.
Huh.
He says the F word.
John, I just got the secret signal to wrap it up.
Yeah. It's not a secret. People are turning off. They won't even get to it.
Would you pay $10 to see Dr. Parnassus?
No. No, I would not. I saw it for free, and I'll leave it at that. I wouldn't go see it again, period. If it came out on DVD, no.
We're critics. We don't pay for movies.
Once in a while.
So but you have to look at it maybe perhaps from the point of view that someone who's reading your stuff, do you think it's worth, like, do you think the movie is worth $10?
No,
even
I'm
though
not
you're
recommending it to people, no.
You're not? Okay. I might.
You might?
I might. I personally might. If everybody wanted to go see it, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'll do it.
Here's $10.
I was disappointed with it, but, I can still appreciate it for its artistic merit.
Well, if you're going to tell me I've got $10 to spend and I can see Alvin and the Chipmunks 2, The Squeakquel, or Dr. Parnassus, I'd tell him to go see Dr. Parnassus.
So that wraps it up for this week. We discussed Avatar. That came out on the downside, and Dr. Parnassus, which I think I was marginally the positive one about, that came out on the downside too. That sucks. You guys are thinking Sherlock Holmes, I guess, perhaps?
That's for another episode.
That's for another episode. That would be for next week or the week after. Anyway, we'll be back next week. Don't forget to check out the website, postmovie.wordpress.com, for the show notes. And if you have any questions, of course, send us an email at postmovie@gmail.com. Does that work?